On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Tony tries to download DLC, Shannon gets his groove on, and Ethan helps out his choker bro. We talk about the week's biggest news stories and answer your questions. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Procedurally Generated Show. I'm your host, Tony, and joining me this week, I've got Ethan.
It's so amazing when you're not cutting out.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
Now you're just going to start talking and cutting out on your own. Just like, hey, I'm just... And then I was over it.
Yeah, I don't think I could keep that up for very long.
But if you'd opened the show doing that...
No, I want the show to sound good.
There would have been... I wouldn't even edit it out. It'd just been me like, Tony, what's wrong with your internet? And you'd been laughing at me. And then... Yeah.
We've had plenty of laughs today already. So, our Patreons know what we're talking about because they got the pre-show with the Don't Laugh challenge that Shannon and I sort of failed. Oh, hi, Shannon, by the way. You're here, too.
Yep.
Should have mentioned that. What's going on, sir?
We got full-on Tony tonight. It is nice to hear your voice, sir.
I won't be able to hear that until I listen to the show on Monday.
Spoiler, they failed the test for the Don't Laugh challenge.
You had some good candidates for laughter in there, and
it was a single video, and y'all just lost immediately.
Well, I like to laugh, man. I don't know if you know this.
I like to laugh. No Mary Poppins. No.
Yes, Mary Poppins. Yes. I don't end up on the roof though when I'm laughing.
Mary Pippins.
And then I have to make myself sad to get off of the roof.
Aww.
So, all right. So there's that.
Trust
we have the
talking umbrella that's British.
We do have some weird conversations during the week.
Yeah.
So, well, Shannon, what have you been playing over the last 7 days that you'd like to talk about?
Okay, so first of all, I was playing Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and that was quickly interrupted a couple days ago when I saw something come through my email informing me about an upcoming Switch game called Muse Dash.
Okay.
So I got super excited and I started sending you a message, Tony, about it because I was like, this looks amazing and I want to play this game. And then after doing more research that evening, I found out that it's on the App Store because everything on the Switch was an app at one point, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So. I picked it up on iOS, and I am having a blast. It is basically, what was the Game Freak Harmonite? It's basically Harmonite crossed with neon lights and bubblegum and anime cutesy characters, and it is super cool and full of awesome Vocaloid and crazy synth pop music, and I am having a blast playing it.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's kind of so. You're auto running, like your character is auto running, and you have enemies and obstacles just coming up to you in time with the music that's playing. There are two inputs there that you're either going to attack high or attack low, or you're going to jump over an obstacle or duck under an obstacle. When you are doing these things, you are either tapping the left or the right side of the screen to either left jumps up, right you stay on the ground and you swing your weapon to attack. Okay. The core game has 37 songs. It starts off with only 3 unlocked to begin with, and they have a leveling system every time you every time you beat a song, there are small objectives within the song. So like, it may want you to get a perfect note string of 80 attacks, or it may want you to um, get 5 successful jumps over an obstacle consecutively, or weird things like that. But each one is usually very specific to that particular song.
Yeah.
And as you do those things, just playing through the music, you're leveling up and unlocking more songs. I have
Nice.
unlocked all 37 songs.
Nice.
And this afternoon, I just went straight ahead and purchased their DLC bundle, because they do have 66 additional tracks that have been put out across a bunch of different DLC packs. But they do, thankfully, like, I wish every stinking iOS App Store phone game had, is just a push one button to get everything, and no little 99-cent hits here and there. It's nice to just be able to say, yes, I really enjoyed the base game. Let me spend $20-$30 and get all of it. So my hats are off to, or my hat is off to Pero Games, the company that made this, and I am very happy with it, and I will continue to play it and enjoy it, and I look forward to playing it on my TV through the Switch.
Yeah. You when we talked about this, did you say it was free to play on iOS?
No, it is.
Is it not?
It's like
it's a
$3.
It's a $3 game on iOS, and I think you said it was $3 on Android as well.
It is
right, Tim?
$3 as well on Android. Yes.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. Even if you're just doing the base game, like I said, has 37 songs. There are 11 DLC packs, each of them having 6 songs apiece. The DLC packs are $4 a piece, and then the buy everything, I think, was $27 to just get all of it all in one go. So, and they also, like, if you look at the information on the grab everything pack, it is the price of that changes based off of, say you bought 2 of the DLC packs, it'll take $8 off of the total cost of that buy everything. So like,
Nice.
it adjusts the price down based off of what you've already purchased if you chose not to get all of it at one time. So
I'm trying to see what the press release we got says about how it's going to come to the Switch. Because I'm always
the one thing sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm always curious about how these rhythm games come to Switch, because it's not the first mobile game that's done that. Like Voez, I think, was one that was a free-to-play game on mobile that you would then buy song packs and stuff. But when it came to the Switch, I think they charged $30 and you got everything.
Right, and Musinx is another one that has done that. Musinx was released as like a $3 or $4 game, and then they had a similar model where they release song packs, or you can just spend the money up front at one point in time and you get everything. With Musinx, there was a core of, I think, 40 songs in the Switch title, and then every couple of months they've done an update and added in 5 or 6 new songs every couple months, and it's been free.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got the press release for Muse Dash pulled up. It'll come to the Switch and PC in June. The Switch will have all the DLC.
Sweet.
80 songs to start off with, and then it will also have free DLC updates after that.
Awesome.
It says. So it will also include English, Japanese, Korean, simplified, and traditional Chinese localization. So it looks like there's a pretty sizable package that's going to come when it comes to the Switch.
Very cool. I'm very much looking forward to playing this on the TV. I have enjoyed it for the last 2 or 3 days on my phone, and I foresee many hours in the future spent with this, because Musinx was kind of worked the same way for me. I picked up Musinx when it was on PS4, and then it got released on Switch, and I was like, okay, Switch will be on the mobile. And then when I found out that, oh, hey, Musinx is actually a mobile game, I picked it up on my iPhone, and now I find myself playing it on my phone way more than I play it on my systems.
Yeah.
So, but it's still nice to have Musinx to be able to play on the TV whenever I choose to. I have the same feeling of this. It's going to be one of those things that, I'll have my phone to play it on the go, and then it'll be nice to put it up on the TV when I want to hear it through the sound system.
And it sounds a lot like Bit Trip Runner, but cute.
Yeah, Bit Trip Runner is another good comparison. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, it's Bit Trip Runner or Harmonite, but super anime and super cute.
Yeah,
so.
Lots of pink in the screenshots I'm seeing.
Yeah, but that's it for me.
Okay, Ethan, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
Okay, so I played Final Fantasy XIV a lot this week.
You've done that a lot in the past.
Yes, but there was a good reason for me to cram so much time into it this time.
Yeah, they dropped some new content, didn't they?
The Final Fantasy XV event was dropped Tuesday, I guess is what it was. Sounds about right.
This in 14?
15 and 14, yes.
Okay.
So the requirement to do the Final Fantasy 15 event in Final Fantasy 14 was you had to be level 50 and have done the mission or quest called, I think it was the Ultimate Weapon or Ultima Weapon, one of those two. I don't know. Because
Final Fantasy, it's probably Ultima.
It's probably Ultima, but the word Ultima is in there sometimes, so whatever. And me being at level 70, and I'm just in-game stuff where I'm grinding for item level gear, or higher level item gear, whatever you want to call it. I'm more than ready for this DLC or event, so hopped onto the location for where it was at. Had to spend probably 5 minutes in each location where I had to talk to required people, clicking through a mountain of other players, just standing on top of the person you need to talk to until I could talk to the required NPC I needed to target.
That sounds like a whole lot of work.
Oh, it was so annoying. And you have the biggest characters in the game by players standing on some of the smallest characters possible. So they're totally encompassing who you need to talk to, and it's just a real jerk move. Anyway, went through this, found Prince Noctis. I'm like, hey, it's Noct, alright. And he's with the Regalia, and he's having card troubles like always. Yeah.
I think he'd get a better vehicle, being Prince and all.
Right? I want to know who actually won the actual Regalia vehicle that was made.
They made a real Regalia?
They had a contest to give it away, too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Or was it a contest or both super expensive and a contest, I guess. Anyway.
Dude, I bet I can tell you one thing, whoever won that, their mechanic is singing Happy Day all the way to the bank.
Their mechanic better be named Sid.
No kidding.
So him and the Regalia broken down. They're near one of the starting cities, so you just push it to one of the little nearest ether crystal locations, and then you're like, I guess we'll get Sid to look at it, and he's like, "What? Sid's here?" And Final Fantasy, there's always a Sid. It's not the same Sid. And you keep having these little brief moments. Or for me, it was like this nice little brief moment of they're actually acknowledging they're using the same name every time.
Mm-hmm.
So he meets the new Sid and then has other missions for you to do. And so you're just getting to go and be awesome with Prince Noctis running around the Final Fantasy XIV world, fighting stuff for the missions. It's kind of a short-lived little story, but the last one you get to go and fight in Final Fantasy XIV, they're called primals, the summoned monsters.
Yeah.
I forget what they're called in 15, but you're fighting one that he recognizes the name of. He's like, oh, you have that person here too? And So that happens all over again, and so he grants you the warp strike ability for this fight against a boss level creature, and it's just the two of y'all going at it after this monster. Beat it down. It took me probably 7 or 8 tries before I got it to work right. The boss would just kind of one shot me at some random point. I don't know why. It was just really bad, and then I figured that out, and then Noctis is just getting knocked. He's tanking the whole thing, and it was not a fun time. But I did all that, and I unlocked his outfit.
Nice.
So that's
Cool.
pretty cool. But the DLC stuff, or not, the new stuff said I could get his hairstyle and his car. And that's where the entire rest of the week was spent trying to get. Because you can't go back and do these missions after you're done. Noctis has left the world, you send him on back to 15.
Hmm.
So my problem was, do I go to the store to buy it there? No, it's not in the store like Final Fantasy VII's bike is. It is stored in the gold saucer, and it needs the gold saucer currency to be purchased from there. It was going. The regalia cost 200,000 MPG or MGP, which one MPG, one MGP is worth 10 gil, and you can only purchase up to 500 gil, and you can't purchase any more until you're under 500. So I am forced to do all these events and little gambling things throughout the week to get more money to buy this car.
Weird.
So this morning, as of this recording, I got over 230,000. I bought the car, I bought the card, and I bought the hairstyle. The card just so I could play the triple triad on there, which is actually seems a little easier but more handicapped than Final Fantasy VIII, but whatever, that's fine. It's not my fault that they let the NPCs have cheating decks and then you're stuck with a deck that they limit you on building. But the main thing was the car. The car is a 4-person mount.
Nice.
So me and 3 party members can just get together and go around. I can take them wherever I want. Or they want.
So the whole crew can ride around together.
Exactly. Uh, that it putting that in the gold saucer, making people earn it like that. It's very doable, but I was looking forward to having to grind out a boss fight repeatedly in hopes of the odds
Improving.
improving or being in my favor of winning this thing, so
Yeah.
I could get battle gear or something while I'm doing all this. But as much as I hate it, I had fun doing the gambling stuff in the gold saucer, I guess.
Well, that's good.
Yep. Even got to the point where I'm using a website to help me figure out the odds on a kind of a scratch off ticket thing that you get to do in that area. So yeah, Noctis went home, got the mount, and that's about it. That's my week.
Okay. I wish I could just play Final Fantasy 14, but I'd have to call Square Enix.
1-800-SQUARE?
1-800. I'm not gonna bother. That's too much effort.
I will call them right now. My friend Tony can't play Final Fantasy 14. Fix it.
I can't remember my login information, and none of my security questions work. So I can't get logged in on the PS4 because you can't just simply, delete an account and log in with another one. It locks everything into one account. So it's annoying.
It
So
did.
one thing I will say, I have had to call Square Enix support before.
Hmm.
They are very easy to communicate with on the phone, and as
Are
long
they?
as you're calling within their hours, I was able to get on and off with that and get a resolution to my problem in about 10 minutes. So
Okay.
I maybe give them a
Maybe I
call.
should. Maybe I should give them a call.
Kind of reminds me when I had to call Blizzard to reactivate my account. It was fairly well. No, I didn't. I had to have them call me. That's what it was. But it was fairly painless after I got them to call me and they set me up. But I would hope Square Enix would be just as easy to deal with.
You won't have to deal with Ubisoft for anything?
God no. They'll just tell me to uninstall and reinstall, and it's like, no, I'm not doing this because it's not installed to begin with.
Yeah. See, I've never had any problem with Ubisoft stuff, so.
The crappy game didn't work anyway.
I also had a pleasant experience with Ubisoft support recently.
It's just Ethan that gets the bad customer service reps.
They hate Texas.
Maybe that's what it is.
Tony, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing? Smash Brothers this week.
You played Smash?
I
I
played
never
Smash.
saw it coming.
I do occasionally play the game. No, but Joker came out this week. Nintendo said, I think it was on Tuesday, Nintendo said, hey, you know what? We're going to release Joker. And they did the next day.
They
Sort of.
They they said the next day.
Sort of. It was the next day after the next day that I was finally able to get it.
You and the rest of the internet.
I think the 17th, they dropped version 3.0 Smash Brothers that included some additional stuff in the game that we'll talk about in a minute, as well as Joker, who is the first of the 5 DLC characters that they're going to release, not counting Piranha Plant.
Oh,
Um,
poor little piranha plant.
Oh, that's good for us because that means that Piranha Plant was not included in those 5 characters.
exactly.
That means we're actually getting 6.
And one of them was free as long as you registered your game before a particular time. Now he's $5, I think.
Huzzah!
So on the 17th, I went to get Joker. I hadn't bought the Fighter's Pass yet. I was just going to buy the Joker DLC and download him and play around with him. So, first of all, they didn't say when that day they were going to drop the DLC. I think early in the morning I found out that it wasn't until 8 o'clock at night, our time,
Right.
that they were going to do it, which is really annoying.
They did the same thing with the Nintendo Switch Online program.
Yes, they did.
Like it didn't end up going live until like 8 or 9 p.m.
That's true. It's the exact same thing that happened there. Instead of updating at like noon or whatever, like they normally do with the eShop and things like that, 8 o'clock at night, our time, he downloaded. So 8 o'clock rolls around, I turn on Smash, go to the eShop, and it says, I don't think so, fool. You ain't getting into this eShop. Servers are down. It was like 8:01 that I tried to log in and do this, and couldn't because the servers are crashed. I think we've come to find out that someone had scheduled a server maintenance at 8 o'clock on the same day. So the servers were down for that, and they said, okay, Joker's going to be delayed by an hour, and it was 9 o'clock our time that all of that was going to be available. So 9 o'clock rolls around, and I say, okay, well, I'll try again. Nope, servers were still down.
Yeah, sounds about right.
You could not get in, either through the game or through the eShop itself. It was not happening. So I just kept trying. I just kept logging in. Every once in a while, it would boot up the eShop, and a couple of things would load up, but then it would be like, nope, servers are down. So I think for about 45 minutes, I just kept refreshing, just hitting the A button over and over and over again on the Switch until I was able to get to the Smash Brothers website, the page on the eShop, was able to get to Joker and successfully purchase Joker, as well as a couple of the Mii Fighter costumes, which were made available as well. I got Persona 3 and Persona 4 protagonist Mii Fighter costumes.
Yay.
Was able to go through the purchase process, and as soon as I completed the purchase and wanted to go to do the download, went back to the home menu, it brought up the download bar. 30 seconds later, that X says, we can't download this. And I was like, why can't you download it? It's a 4 megabyte download. This should work.
The servers were down.
The servers were down. I kept trying over and over and over for like 4 hours before I finally just gave up. I had purchased. Well, that's what a lot of people on the internet did. There were all kinds of memes and gifs about Joker stealing Nintendo's servers.
Oh, they were making sure Yoshi paid his taxes.
Apparently, once Yoshi paid his tax bill, they fixed the servers. So after about 4 hours, I gave up. I was able to get the update downloaded with no problem. That worked fine. In this whole thing, I saw a message pop up that said Fortnite had updated itself, so that was nice. And then the next day was like, okay, fine. Well, whatever. After 4 hours, I was like, I'll just come back tomorrow and download the stuff if possible. Found out on Twitter that a lot of people had the same issue, where they either couldn't get to it to purchase it, or if they purchased it, it didn't download properly, and they didn't know how to get it to re-download. Nintendo UK posted a thing, and were like, we know people are having problems. Here's what you can do to download your Joker DLC.
Delete the game and reinstall. You
had to delete the game.
What?
You had to delete the game from your system, whether you have the card or the digital version of the game. Go to your software manager, delete Smash Brothers, the install, leave your save data there. That's fine. Don't delete that.
Good.
But delete the game, re-download it, let it update, and then go back to the eShop, find your previously purchased software, scroll through there, find Smash Brothers, and hit the button to re-download the DLC.
Weird.
Got home that night, tried that, it worked. Re-updated the game, went to the eShop, re-downloaded the DLC, it all worked. When I deleted the game, I went back in just to see, before I had re-downloaded the software, I just deleted the game and reinstalled it to see if that would work. It didn't, and it had removed my Piranha Plant download. He was not in the roster anywhere. But when I went back to the eShop, downloaded the DLC, booted the game back up, it's like Piranha Plant joins the fight, Joker joins the fight, and then it went through every message for every bit of DLC content that had come out, and as well as news stories. So it was like 5 minutes of just pushing the A button to get through all of these, DLC messages.
Weird.
But I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I've got the stuff. That's all that matters. Started playing as Joker, and you know what? He's a really good character.
Yeah, he is.
He is like a really good character. I don't think he's super overpowered, like a lot of people were worried about. But he is really good. I noticed there are a few people who were posting pictures and videos on Twitter of some glitches that they had done where they could get Joker to recover through the bottom of a stage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So there were a few glitches that were happening, but I haven't run into any of that. But the character himself is really good. He uses a gun and a sword. I haven't played Persona, so I don't know how he plays in Persona 5.
He uses
But
a model gun that people perceive as real because the mind. Yeah.
yeah.
Shannon knows what I mean.
Yeah, like they are model guns, and when he goes into mementos, they become real.
Yeah. It's just like in Persona 3 where they weren't using guns, they were using evokers, which was just, a gun by another name.
Yep.
A gun without an actual bullet.
So,
Spirit bullets.
the character model is really well done.
Yes, it is. It's amazing.
I can't get over the stage. Oh my gosh, the stage is so cool.
So, yeah, the stage has, I think 3 different colors that it can be depending on what music is playing. So you can choose music from Persona 3, Persona 4, or Persona 5. And depending on which music is playing, it'll change the color of the stage. I think Persona 3 has blue. Everything in the stage is blue. Persona 4 is yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Persona 5 is red.
Yep. But he has 4 different ending colors.
Really?
Yeah, the 4th one's green, so our current internet belief is this is Persona 6 color theme.
You think?
It might be like 1 or 2, I don't know.
His victory screen is really cool too, which I think comes straight from Persona 5.
Yes, it does.
So, where instead of just standing still, he actually starts running, off the screen, and the camera follows him.
He does the victory circle like he does in the game.
So, as you're playing with him, so it does bring in some elements of Persona. He starts fights without having his persona, which I can't remember the name of.
Oh, it's
Katsunagi or
no. His persona's like arson or something like that.
oh yeah.
But I don't remember what his name is. But he starts without his persona. But he has, like Cloud has a limit break gauge. He has, what did they call it? A rebellion gauge, something like that. I think
The limit break gauge that Cloud has.
Yeah. Joker has what I think is called the rebellion gauge. I don't remember if that's what it is, but I think that's what it is. That fills up as he takes damage, but also he has a move where he can put on his mask, and it basically makes him invincible for for like half a second, a few frames. But if anybody hits him while he's in that invincibility state, it fills that bar up really quickly. And when that bar fills up, he summons his persona, and that modifies all of his attacks. It makes them stronger, makes them last longer, gives them additional range.
Yeah, because the persona's attacking with him at that point.
Yeah. It also changes his up B recovery, where normally he has a grappling hook that has a very long range as well. Like, he has a really long recovery with that grappling hook.
That thing is such a lifesaver.
But if he's summoned his persona, he actually has wings and can fly up off, over the top of the stage. And then his final smash is a big group attack.
The all-out attack.
Yeah, with the Phantom Thieves. And he's one of the few, I think, that when you start his smash attack, you can actually change the direction of it. So with some of the characters like Ike, the Fire Emblem characters who do this like long dash, I think Link does the same thing. You can actually change the direction of his dash move when he does his final smash. So if you miss initially, you can actually turn around and come back and get them on a second chance, basically, type of thing. So the character is very, very good. What else do I want to? Is there anything else to say about Joker? I can't think of anything right off. Do you guys have any other questions about him?
No. No, he was just pretty awesome when I tried him out.
Yeah, and you get the character, and you also get 10 songs from Persona added to the game.
I love
So
that they acknowledged Persona 3 and 4. I thought that was really cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
Just adding that music in and making those stage adjustments and the
The
Mii
Mii fighters,
costumes.
yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it
good.
had a few different, I think 5 or 6 Mii fighter costumes. You get Persona 3 and Persona 4 protagonists.
Hmm.
You get a Morgana hat for your Mii's. Teddy, there's a Teddy costume, and I think there might be one more.
There was also Tails and Knuckles.
Yeah,
From a different
That Knuckles
game.
costume is creepy.
Persona and Knuckles.
Yeah.
With Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
So, but then also to go along with Joker, the Smash 3.0 update added a bunch of other features to the game. There's now an updated video editor which will allow you to edit long clips together. So all of your you can save all your replays, and then you can use those in a video editor that will let you take all of those different clips, edit them together. You can do all the typical things that you would be able to do: break a clip up into different pieces, merge clips from multiple videos together. It's got transition animations and things like that. And then you can upload all of those videos to a new service for the Nintendo Switch Online mobile app. It's
Oh.
also available in the game, but you can view all of this stuff from a new mobile app for Smash Brothers that allows you to watch replays, look at DLC, or not DLC, Mii Fighter characters that people have created, and new stages that people have made because they added a stage editor to Smash.
Yep, they totally added a stage editor.
And they totally had to delete a bunch of stages within the first few hours of the stage builder
They
being
are
released.
still deleting stages.
So, because the internet did what the internet does,
Ruins everything.
and
I just think it's amazing that they're letting you use custom stages online. I figured that would have been disabled from the start.
see, I hadn't seen if they allowed you to do that yet or not.
You can. You can.
Uh,
You can't use them in the ranked play. I forget what the other is.
there's just like a quick match
Yeah.
thing. So, I've created one stage which Jake and I played on, and we had a lot of fun with it. It's a pretty basic stage. It's just got one main platform, like Battlefield or something like that. But then there's a platform that is up above it that spins around in a circle. It doesn't spin in place. It rotates around this big circle that I made. But then off to the sides of the stage are 2 cannons that they've added. And rather than pointing the cannons in to where they would shoot you back onto the stage, I pointed them outward so that if you get put into one of these cannons, you just immediately die because it shoots you off past the borders of the stage and you lose a stock or you lose a life or whatever. You cannot recover from it. But I didn't put them in places that are, as soon as you get hit, you immediately get knocked into the cannon. I put them out. They're far enough out that if you are paying attention, you have time to recover and get away from them. But also, if you get hit over them, you have to decide, do you want to try to recover over the top of them or go underneath them and recover that way? There's a little bit of strategy that I was trying to put in on these. I posted it to my Twitter account, so if anybody wants to see the stage, they can go to my Twitter and see that. And then from the mobile app, you can search for it and set it to queue to download to your Switch, because you can do that with the mobile app, which is really nice.
That I didn't know. That's cool.
Yeah, so any of the Mii fighters you see that people have created or any stages, you can scroll through all that stuff and look through that. And if there's a stage you want, click a button and it puts it into a download queue that when you come to your Switch, you can find that section of the stage builder and just download all of those stages that you set, in your queue.
Very cool.
a really nice feature. And you can watch all the replays, which are done through YouTube Gaming. You can watch all of those on the mobile app. You can watch all of those on the Switch itself. You can sort by the type of stage. You can sort by character. So if you only want to see Kirby videos, or you only want to see Joker videos, or Ganondorf videos, whoever, you can pick a particular character that you want to watch, and just watch replays of people's fights that they have uploaded to the service. So the update was pretty significant. It's really nice. If you haven't been able to get it downloaded, you should be fine now at this point. After 3 or 4 days, Nintendo finally got their act together, got the servers fixed, and working. But that first 5 or 6 hours was really frustrating for a lot of people who were not able to get the DLC or update the game or anything like that. So, but that is it for me. If you guys don't have any other questions, we will take a quick break and we'll come back and talk about the news. Okay, so do you guys remember a few weeks ago we talked about Sega is going to be releasing their own version of the Genesis Mini later this year?
Yes, and we talked about the first 10 games they announced for it.
Yes. I don't have that list with us, but
I'll have it in a second.
Sega this week announced the next 10 games that will be available for the Genesis Mini when it launches.
Okay.
Those games are Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse,
Good choice.
World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck,
Hmm.
which I don't know that one. I've played Castle of Illusion. I've never played World of Illusion. Thunder Force 3, Super Fantasy Zone,
All right.
Shinobi 3,
Cool.
Streets of Rage 2,
All right.
Earthworm Jim,
Yes.
Cool.
Sonic 2,
Excellent.
Contra Hardcore,
Hard Corpse.
and Landstalker.
Never heard of that.
I hope in the next announcement Aladdin makes an appearance.
God, that'd be the best, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Well, we've got 2 Disney games, but these Disney games were developed and published by Sega, with Castle of Illusion and World of Illusion.
Right.
But it still has Mickey on there.
That's true. And Ethan, you and I talked about this. We thought it was a weird pull to have those Disney games on there.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, and I don't know the history behind these games, but because they were developed and published by Sega, they have some right to be able to put these games on there.
The rights have probably had time to pass on to just Sega for these 2 games at this point, probably.
Yeah. That leads me to wonder if they could put any of those other Disney games on this. Nintendo didn't get any Disney games for either the NES or the Super Nintendo.
I don't know about the Aladdin one specifically because the Aladdin on Genesis is the same game as Aladdin on the Game Boy Color. So I don't know how that's going to work copyright-wise or any of that. I mean, the Sega version being the superior out of those 2, and superior out of that in the Super Nintendo version. So
See, I think I'd go with the Super Nintendo version, but I've never played the Sega version, so I don't know.
It's so good.
Is it?
Yes. You throw an apple and knock a guard's pants off.
So are there any other games you'd like to see included with this? There's going to be 40 altogether, I believe.
I actually talked with Jason. We went through like the top 250 Sega games list, and there was quite a few games we were very interested in that could come to the Genesis Classic Mini or whatever you're going to call this.
Yeah.
Specifically mentioning, well, I'm saying that word a lot, Rystar was one game that caught my attention really quick on there.
That'd be a good one.
And there was Sparkman, I think was the game. I think that's a Game Freak game on Genesis, if I remember.
Okay.
Like, so those are two good pulls that I recall being on the list that we believe should come to the Genesis Classic Mini.
Gunstar Heroes.
That's already on the list.
Is it?
Yeah, I have the first 10. Gunstar
Oh, okay.
Heroes is on there.
Okay. I couldn't remember the previous 10 that we had talked
While we're
about.
not getting Puyo Puyo, we are getting Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
So you're getting Puyo Puyo.
Puyo Puyo with a skin, yeah.
Yeah. So like I said before, I've never owned a Genesis, so it would be nice to have this because there's a lot of these games that I have never played before.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to talk more whenever the modding community gets a hold of that.
Yeah.
Oh well,
This is
you have that little thing. I sent you a thing, didn't I?
yeah. I have a pie with a bunch
Yeah,
of stuff on there.
it's got Genesis on there. It's got all the ROMs. You're good.
Yeah. So, but are there any other games that you'd like to see on this?
So I don't know if it's actually a good game, but I do have fond memories of playing Jurassic Park. There's some game where I was doing like side scrolling and platforming while playing a dinosaur. I don't remember what it was or if it was good, but
I remember
I
the
played.
Jurassic Park game being super hard to figure out what to do.
I don't know. Like I said, I remember having fond memories, but that also was me sitting in a hospital as a kid, just playing with the Genesis they wheeled around on a cart.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure if we all thought about it, there's a lot of games that we played as kids that were really bad, but we have
yeah,
really fond memories of them because they were one of the few games we had for some of these systems.
yeah.
And it didn't
Tasmania
matter. You were getting your play and you were getting your fun out of it.
Tasmania was a good game. Sonic Spinball, I think you may have
Sonic
already mentioned.
Spinball, that needs to be on the list.
Yeah, Spinball. Definitely Aladdin. I another one I have fond memories of is playing that Toy Story game, but now like looking back on it, it probably was terrible because I remember not having a clue of how to get past like the second level. So
If I recall, those Toy Story games are worth money these days.
really,
I think it's a Super Nintendo one that is, but it might be Sega. I don't know.
I keep forgetting that Toy Story is old enough to have been on Super Nintendo, to have games on a Super Nintendo.
yeah.
Gosh, I was in like grade school when that movie came out.
Which that is crazy to think.
Oh man, was I even in college whenever Andy was in college?
So, yeah, I imagine over the next few weeks we'll get the last 20 games that are going to be on the system. And we'll, of course, talk about all of those as they come out. I'd be interested in hearing what the listeners think, what games they'd love to see included on this. So, do either of you guys play Burnout Paradise?
Yes,
Do you play it on the 360 or the PS3?
I I play the 360 version on the Xbox One, backwards compatible.
Well, I have some sad news for you.
Oh,
You're not going to be able to play online much longer.
about time they shut down these servers.
EA announced this week that after 11 years, the servers for Burnout Paradise for the 360, the PS3, and possibly the PC, all of the original versions of this game. I'm not 100% clear on the PC, but the 360 and PS3 for sure. The servers will shut down on August 1st.
Okay, so here I'm going to say that they did this fairly well because Burnout Paradise Remastered was released for consoles in March of 2018.
Hmm.
They pulled the original. I don't know about the PS3, but I know on the 360 from the digital storefront, they pulled the digital purchasing ability of the 360 game from the storefront. Probably it had to have been at least a month or two before the release of remastered. So they tried to give some sort of a break, and then the PC version of remastered didn't come out until August. So and that's August of 2018. So if they're letting these servers go up and they're giving a full year of usage on both the remaster and the original release, 11 years after the game came out, and they're
Yeah.
they're continuing to support it for that long, that's pretty cool.
This will not affect the Xbox One, PS4, and the PC version, so that will be fine. Burnout Paradise Remastered.
Right.
But it will shut off the online functionality for the 360 and PS3 versions of the game.
So I
Is
will say this: the this gives me reason to go and play the remaster, because I did buy the remaster. That game has hit, I think, $5 on multiple sales from Xbox One and PlayStation Network,
mhm.
like the flash sales and crazy nonsense that happens on these digital storefronts. But when I did pick it up on Xbox, my save data was not cross compatible, so I didn't really want to go through, but unlocking everything and
Yeah.
doing all of those races and getting my license up all over again. But this gives me a reason to do it.
Yeah, because if you want to play online with anybody, you're going to have to move to the remastered version of the game.
Right.
So, but yeah, the game has been out for a long time, and they have rolled out, you know, the sort of shutdown and the move to the newer version of the game fairly well.
Hmm.
So, I think they gave people plenty of time to be able to move on to the remastered version if they wanted to, um, and try to keep that progression going as much as possible. So, but yes, August 1st, Burnout Paradise, the servers will shut down. You'll still be able to play all the offline stuff. That will not be affected. That's all fine, but you just will not be able to play online with anybody. So, there you go. The next news story, Nintendo. They are looking to get into China with the Switch. The system is currently unavailable in that market.
Well,
Uh,
geez, how many years ago was it the console ban was lifted in China? Not that long,
it
right?
wasn't that long ago.
So this would probably be like one of the first major consoles to actually come to China from that's been everywhere else already without a, basically a Chinese knockoff, right?
I think so. Yeah, I'm looking through the news story. I'm trying to see. Um, I think Xbox and PlayStation are both available in the country now, but they haven't done very well. Uh, but Nintendo is partnering with mobile publisher Tencent,
You might
and
remember from such
they
games as
they released Arena of Valor on the Switch.
that's what it was.
Uh,
Oh, and League of Legends is what they work on as well.
yeah,
Well, bought their way into.
yes. So they are partnering with Tencent, who will be the distributor of the system in China.
And
And
Tencent is also involved with the Epic Games Store.
yes, they are. Yes, they are. They Nintendo and Tencent will be partnering together to sell a test version of the Switch, probably before too long. That will include a copy of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. That will be their test bed for the system in China.
I hope it goes well for them.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if they do well and they are successful, that will be a huge benefit for Nintendo, especially because Sony and Microsoft have struggled in the country. If they can get a foothold there, that will be a huge deal. Their shares of Nintendo went up quite a bit after the news of this partnership and test version of the system were announced. So, let's see. Just looking through the news story. This was earlier this week, and the Chinese government had 10 days from the time of the announcement to either revoke the permission or to go ahead and grant it unconditionally. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, because even with the actual the law, if it was still in effect, recalling that it's a ban on, I think it was home consoles. I don't think the portable consoles were banned specifically on that. There I am saying that word again. Why am I doing that? So I'm guessing the Switch probably would have been able to get away with that then somehow, right?
Possibly.
I would have to see the actual law, but I don't know.
So, but mobile platforms have done very, very well in China. Tencent is a huge company.
A little too huge.
Possibly. So I don't know everything that they're involved with. I just know that is a very recognizable name to me because of their partnership with Nintendo for things like this with Epic Games, which I think do they own part of Epic?
They are not majority owner, but they have they own part of a portion.
Okay. And then of course League of Legends and Arena of Valor. So
and yep.
But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how well Nintendo does and how this affects their shares, their stock going forward. Because it could, if this move is successful and it does mean a huge influx of cash, that could be a very nice thing for Nintendo in the future. So, but I'm gonna keep an eye on this and see what comes of this news. But then lastly, our last bit of news, there's something nice that came from something tragic that happened this week. For anybody that didn't see it, earlier this week, Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris caught fire. And a large portion of the roof and the spire of the building were destroyed in that fire, which most people have said was accidental. There was a lot of renovation work being done on the roof, and the early investigation results that they talked about said that it was an accident, that it could have been an electrical short.
I believe they have confirmed it was a short circuit.
Okay. And because of the materials that the roof was made out of, primarily wood and lead, that fire caught quickly, it spread quickly, and much of the building was destroyed or damaged in that fire. News reports did say that many of the artifacts, art, and historical, effects in the building were actually either saved or were not present at the time of the fire. So that was
really good.
That was some good news. But then also Ubisoft is connected with this story because
they burned it all down. How dare they?
No, they didn't do that.
They're protecting the Templars.
Because of their, maybe that's going to come up in a future game. Because of the development of Assassin's Creed Unity, they had done some extensive 3D modeling of the building and have probably one of, if not the best 3D models of Notre Dame in existence. I did see, along with Ubisoft, there was reports of another person who recently passed away, but before they died, had done a lot of laser modeling of the building as well. Um, but I think people have started contacting Ubisoft asking if they would be interested in giving some help in restoration of the building, because the French government has said they will be
Rebuilding.
restoring the building. They're going to be rebuilding the parts that were destroyed and damaged. Um, Over €1 billion were collected within 24 to 48 hours for the restoration of the building,
Yeah.
including €500,000 from Ubisoft themselves.
Wow. I
Cool.
do know Ubisoft had like a painstakingly accurate
Yeah,
information on the building because they wanted to get every little brick detail correct in the which Assassin's Creed game was it?
it was Unity.
Unity. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't remember the name of the person who did that modeling, but she spent almost 2 years just on the model of Notre Dame itself.
and it's the largest structure in that specific game. Again with
Yeah.
that word, why? Ugh. But yeah, good times.
And one of the interesting or funny things about that model was during the time that Assassin's Creed Unity is set, that famous spire of the building was not there. But she went ahead and modeled all of that anyway because she wanted that information.
Nice.
Uh, so it's not completely historically accurate to the time period of the game, but because of that, we have the most accurate, most recent 3D model of the building, courtesy of Ubisoft of all people. So they also announced this week that along with that donation of €500,000, they were giving away a copy of Assassin's Creed Unity for anybody that wanted it for free on PC. Which you may still have a day or two as of the time people are hearing this to grab that if you want. I think it was only going to be available for a week.
Not doing it. Can't do it.
I'd grab it, but I know I'd never play it on PC. My number one, my PC can't handle it. Number two, I'd play it on consoles before I'd play it on PC. But if you do want it, it is there and available for people for a day or two after the time that this show goes live. But thanks to Ubisoft, part of history is being saved.
Yay. Thanks, Ubisoft and Rabbids.
So bad customer service experiences are okay.
They pay for buildings.
There you go. There you go. But that'll be it for the news. So let's move on to listener feedback. And our first one this week comes from Lang via Twitter, who says, voting with your dollars is something we're all very familiar with. I know all three of us talk all the time about voting with our dollars. Throwing money at what you want to see more of. But then there's the opposite of that, where you stop giving to companies that take stances you don't agree with. Not the usual AAA gutting a game to sell it as DLC, but when one of the major console companies doubles down on awfulness. And he gave some examples, the latter half of the 360 era of censorship of Japanese games, Nintendo Treehouse's terrible localization of games, and now Sony's censorship of Japanese games.
Well,
Do you
Sony's
stand?
censorship of every game.
Yeah. Do you stand by your principles and do an overall boycott till their stance changes, or do you selectively support and boycott?
So I know what sparked a lot of this, like that news that came out around the PS5 and them kind of reaffirming their stances on censorship has Lang really burned on Sony, and he's,
Well, saying that
from
they
what I
have an
understand,
internal censorship company now, and
right.
basically having no actual rules out there, playing that, where not playing that, just being very vague about what they allow and what they don't allow, making it nearly impossible for developers to present them with a game because that costs money to get a build working and everything, just for it to be shot down for them to have to rework, and that's more money they have to spend now.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on that.
no,
Just
you're fine. Like
the topic makes me mad as well.
yeah. I don't think I've ever straight up walked away from a company entirely for a particular reason or another. I mean, I can think of a handful of games that I've just intentionally not purchased because I didn't agree with subject matter or didn't like the way um, a team went with a project. But I don't think I've ever just completely boycotted something because of me disagreeing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think mine has generally been on like a game by game basis. I've never been like, you know what, if it's EA, not buying it. If it's Activision, not buying it. If
If
it's a
it's
Sony
Ubisoft,
thing,
not buying it.
uh, it's always really been, for me, sort of selective. Uh, there have been times where like I've said, you know what, I'm not going to buy Madden for a while, or I'm not going to buy something from EA because of the way that they have dealt with Nintendo in the past. I don't agree with, you know, they're saying we're going to support the company and then not supporting the company in any way.
This is more like the company's not supporting the people that make content for them now.
Yeah. With the Sony thing, I have followed it a little bit, but I haven't paid a ton of attention to it. So I know some of the things that are going on, but not everything. Um, I haven't made my decision about, you know, what I'm going to do 360 or, you know, Xbox 2, PS5, whatever comes next generation. Um, so I went with PlayStation this time because I didn't like the messaging around the Xbox early on. Um, but you know, Microsoft has turned a lot of that around now, and you know, come next generation, I may go back to Microsoft if I pick up a next generation console.
You know, I hate to pull away from Lang's thing, but I can't believe we didn't put the all digital Xbox One announcement from this week in the news segment.
That's I had completely forgotten about that.
It's just all this talk about Microsoft right now. It's just making me think about it. But yeah, we can loop back around to that in a little bit.
Okay, yeah, we'll come back to that because we do need to talk about that. So yeah, I do think I've never done this overall boycott of any company. It's always been, you know, I like this game. I'm going to support what they're doing here. I don't like this one. I'm not going to buy this game. Um, I have bought some games that I really didn't play a lot just because I wanted to tell the developer, you know what? I like what you're doing with this. I want to see more of this.
Yep.
Here's some money. And then
I've
on the flip
I've
side
bought I've purchased multiple copies of the same game before because I want to give the developer love.
I've done that as well. Usually with smaller titles from indie developers, where you know I've been like, you know, I really liked this game,
Oh man,
so
Mutant Muds. How many
do.
copies do I own now?
Oh, I think all of us own dozens of copies of Mutant Muds on every platform possible. The guys over at Image Inform, I've supported by buying the SteamWorld games on just about every platform that it's available because I love those games. I love those developers.
Oh man, I actually just thought of something that kind of falls in line with this. It's not a game developer. It's straight up Amazon. I haven't purchased a video game from Amazon in I think 6 months. It's been a long time, and a lot of it boils down to them getting, you know, they keep changing the deal with Amazon Prime and making it significantly worse over and over and over. I don't see where my money's going anymore. I really don't. And as far as Amazon Prime goes, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm grandfathered into this family sharing thing that they don't offer anymore, the only reason we keep it is because I have family members that are all chipping in to keep the 2 day, like the 2 day shipping. But at this point, I don't even see why that's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But I I can think of like as much as I dislike some things with limited run games, one thing that they do completely right is they give me the option to spend $2 extra on every purchase, and I know for a fact that my purchase is being shipped in a cardboard box rather than going in a bubble mailer.
Yeah.
And my biggest issue with Amazon is more often than not, I may order 2 or 3 things separately, and those separate orders all get thrown in a bubble mailer together, and I'll end up with a cracked case or artwork that gets punctured because those bubble mailers aren't puncture proof.
Yeah.
I've always wished that there was a little button I could check and, add 5% to the order for the cost of a box, or add $1.50 to the order because it's a movie and you want it shipped in a little box.
Yeah.
I have just straight up stopped ordering media from Amazon, and if I can't get it from a retail store, I'm going to pursue buying it digitally. So,
Yeah. I think the closest thing that I've ever done to an all-out boycott is GameStop. And I still do occasionally buy things from them because it's just easier to get it from them, or it's the only place that you can get something.
right.
But most of my video game buying doesn't come from GameStop anymore. It's done digitally through the eShop or whatever, or through Walmart most of the time now. But I don't like what GameStop's been doing over the years, and so I've quit giving them business. That's probably the closest thing to a boycott that I've ever done. It's just an all-out boycott, and even then, there's still some things that I have to go to them to get.
Yeah.
I think I pretty much boycotted Ubisoft.
No
That's
Starlink
okay.
for you?
That's okay. I buy all the Ubisoft stuff, so you don't.
You're
have
making up for it, yeah. Thank you.
Exactly.
Single-handedly funding Notre Dame's rebuild.
That's me. Yep, I have given them $500,000 worth of Assassin's Creed money over the years.
The kids can pay their own way through college.
Federico via Facebook wants to know, what's our opinion on the recent rumors about a Switch Pro or Lite? Would you get one for your kids? I have a 3.5-year-old nephew. I once questioned myself about getting him a Switch, but it was too complex for him and too heavy. Now with a Switch Lite, I might get him one if that happens, and obviously I'll get a Pro for myself.
So my one complaint from the beginning with the Switch, as far as being a portable console, is that it is too cumbersome and too large for me to throw it in my bag and bring it every day. I more often than not use my Switch as a home console, and the only time I really take it on the go is if we're going on vacation or I go to Chicago for a couple days for work. Something like that, I'll bring it, but 90% of the time it is at home plugged up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If they make a mini, smaller, more portable, I don't care if the Joy-Cons are attached and it limits the amount of games that I can play. If it's a more portable version of this and I can utilize, let's just say 80% of my library, even if I can't play things like Mario Party or whatever,
Or Labo.
or shoot, what's the other one? 1-2 Switch.
Yeah.
Or ARMS. Because ARMS you can
You
play.
can play ARMS with a
portable.
controller.
Yeah, so there's gonna be a handful of things that I won't play, but I'll just adjust what I take with me on the go.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we get a mini, I'm buying it, and I'll buy it for myself because I just want to, the more cool Switch games come out, the more cool Switch games I want to have with me.
Yeah.
I would bet the Mini would have like the Bluetooth connectivity for 2 more
Other
Joy-Cons,
controllers.
so you can use like kickstand mode or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
cool.
it's a real thing. I mean, nothing official yet.
Yeah, Nintendo's not saying anything. I don't expect one this year. Maybe next year I could see one. But I don't think we'll get one this year. And
Yeah,
this
we don't
year
know
I
if it's
would,
a Mini or if it's going to be like a beefed up version or what.
yeah, or both. We could
Ooh,
get both.
A mini beefed up version.
Well, not that.
Aw.
But and I wouldn't buy one this year, but next year possibly. My biggest issue has always been I really want and need multiple Switches in the house, but we can't access our library on them. So for most games, if what if my kids want to play something on one Switch and I would want to play something on the other, they can't, because if I log into one system, it locks them out of everything on the other one.
Yeah.
So until they get around to making the library easily accessible on multiple systems, I have a real problem with getting multiple systems in the house. I'd like to have a pro version. I like you, Shannon. I play mine mostly as a home console, but I do play mine a lot on the go. I do tend to throw mine in a bag and take it with me places, or the kids take it with them when we go on trips. So it does get a lot of use as a portable system, but I would like to have a pro version like the new 3DS that plays all the games and doesn't split the user base in a super significant way, but does give it a little bit more horsepower when plugged into the TV.
Right.
So I'd be more interested in a Switch Pro, where you might be more interested in a lighter version.
And here's the deal: I will probably also grab a Switch Pro, and that'll just replace my existing Switch.
Yeah,
Like, because that, especially if it's going to be the thing that stays hooked up to the television. So.
yeah. If I was still mostly physical media with my Switch, I'd buy a multiple systems in a heartbeat, because we do need a second or even a third Switch sometimes in the house. But because we've decided to go mostly digital this time,
Mm-hmm.
it's been really, really hard. I really wish Nintendo would sort that out. Like, Amazon or Apple
Or
or
Microsoft.
Microsoft, where you can access your digital library on multiple systems with no problem.
Right.
So there you go. What about you, Ethan? Would you be interested in either of these?
Probably the pro version, since I don't travel often enough to get miles put onto the Switch. And
No.
I mean, we've probably both reviewed, or all of us have probably reviewed enough games on there to know that the Switch is lacking in power compared to the other consoles these days,
Mm-hmm.
or that were before its time. So it'd be kind of nice to see one that could keep up with uh, the horsepower of the other two right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's doing all right in its own way, so that's nice.
It is. I mean, we're still getting a lot of major third-party releases on the Switch,
Yeah,
even
but
now.
I mean, I would really love to see like Doom come to Switch at 60 frames a second or 60 FPS without having to be handicapped down just to work on there. But I mean, it still looked good on there.
Yeah. So there you go. And our last one comes from Nathan via Facebook, who wants to know: do we own a gaming headset? If so, what kind, brand, cost, and how do you like it?
Oh
Also, has
gosh,
Nintendo figured out how to do voice chat yet?
no, they haven't.
Uh-uh.
They haven't. They really haven't.
So, as far as a gaming headset goes, I have the original PlayStation Gold headset, like the one that actually folds. The modern ones
Oh,
nowadays don't fold. They're just like a thinner headband that goes across. Um, I really do like that PlayStation Gold one for PlayStation 4. I think it does a very good job at giving a 3D sound experience. And on the handful of times I do play shooters, like when I was playing Destiny with Ethan and crew, I felt that was the better way to play it than using the stereo in the house.
Hmm.
As far as my Xbox, I plug my headphones. I have a set of Bose mic'd headphones that I just plug into the controller, and that works really well.
Yeah. Uh, for me, my primary headset, if I'm playing, it's an Arctis 3 Bluetooth headset, which is the most comfortable pair of headphones I have ever put on my head.
hmm.
Cool.
And I use this primarily because I can actually be connected to two devices at once. So I can be connected Bluetooth to my tablet or my phone for voice chat for things, and then I can run a wire to either the PlayStation or the Switch and get the game audio at the same time,
That's cool.
which is really really nice. And that you can get that headset for I think $100 on Amazon. Um, but then and it is the most comfortable pair of headphones I have ever worn. It does a pretty good job of they're not noise canceling headphones, but they do a good job of filtering some background noise. Um, and then for rhythm games, I use the HyperX Cloud Stinger headset, which you can get for $50, which I think sounds so much better. It gives you deeper bass sounds and a nice spread between the higher frequency sounds and the lower frequency sounds than the Arctis headset does. Um, so I use that when I'm playing, Miku games or Rhythm Heaven on the DS or something like that. For music games, I like that headset better, but my primary headset is the Arctis Bluetooth headset.
Oh gosh. I have purchased two of the same Turtle Beach headsets before, and I don't use either one. One was a gift for someone. The other one was under a different name, but it was the same headset, so I got confused on the purchase. And it wasn't USB, so I don't use it. And I have completely forgotten where I placed it, so that's why I don't use it. Um, I've also tried a Spades Spirit Wolf. It's a USB 7.1 surround sound headset. It's not. It seems a little over cumbersome on my head. I tried using it on the PC. Uh, the mic's not optimal for me on there. Sound was fine, but the mic is horrible. And then there's the Impow EG3 gaming headset. I liked it better, but the mute button on it is actually on the the microphone itself, the little thing that I'm talking into. This, so I would be
Oh,
that you would be hearing that noise if I were going to mute the mic because
Wow.
it's on the tip. So as much as I like that one, I can't do that or I can't use it because that's where the mute switch is on it. And I really like it headsets with the mute switch on there. Unfortunately, I'm using this Sennheiser PC8 USB crappy little cheap headset that I got, and it does have a mute switch on it, but I can't use it because it will make such a horrible noise when I do.
Yeah.
It sounds like this.
don't
Ooh,
no.
ooh.
So I don't use the mute switch on that. If any of you guys remember the early Nintendo Oki episodes that I was on when I had whatever that fake internet was, I did have a mute switch on whatever headset I had then. It was great. I cannot get that same experience, so I've been sad since then.
Oh.
But that Spade Spirit Wolf headset is the closest thing I've come to since then.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Before we leave, though, Shannon, let's circle back to your Xbox.
Yeah. Okay, so Microsoft announced the Xbox One S All Digital Edition, or
Yay!
the Xbox One S SAD, or Xbox One SAD Edition.
Yep.
The internet has so politely decided to start calling it. Um, Physically, it is the exact same size and dimensions as an Xbox One S. And all they did was remove the disk drive. It it could have been smaller, it could have been thinner.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the review units that are out there, people were taking them apart and posting videos on YouTube just showing this cavity of empty space inside of this machine that is way larger than it needs to be. So not really sure. I mean, they just went the cheapest route they possibly could and took this 4K Blu-ray disk drive out of the machine. The motherboard is exactly the same from the 1S to the 1S all digital, and like they even show. I saw a video where somebody showed that there's an open SATA port where the Blu-ray drive should have plugged into. So there could be like a weird homebrew swing to this in about 5 or 6 years, where it turns out that these are actually the easiest um, to like boot
Mod.
homebrew in. Yeah, these may end up being the most moddable down the road, but as far as right now goes, this thing is launching for $249 US, which is technically $50 cheaper than the MSRP of a 1S. However, the 1S hasn't been MSRP at all for what, 2 years now? I
Yeah.
mean, I at Christmas that thing gets to 150, 100, 180 on a regular basis for like Black Friday and the weeks leading up to Christmas. And then right now, the in the very same announcement where they showed off this all digital edition for 250, they also announced that, hey, for the whole, for the rest of the month of April during the spring sale, the all of the current existing Xbox One systems are all $50 off. So guess what? The MSRP for the 1S with a Blu-ray 4K disc drive is $249.99, the same price as the one that doesn't have it in it. It's crazy.
Wow.
They're also packing in 3 games and a there. It doesn't have a pack in of Game Pass. So like in previous systems, they'll give you 3 months of Game Pass for free and a month of Xbox Live Gold for free.
Mm-hmm.
This system is coming with a pack in of 3 months of Game Pass for $1 and a week of Xbox Live Gold for free. And then it's also coming with Forza Horizon 3, which is not on Game Pass. It's coming with Sea of Thieves, which requires Xbox Live Gold to play, and it's also on Game Pass. And it's coming with Minecraft, which is on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So really don't know what the goal is here with this thing, because it I mean, obviously they're shooting to make a cheaper option for people who are wanting to get into that, and I was excited about that. I was looking at this with the hopes that it's going to be the size of I wasn't expecting like a Roku or an Apple TV, but maybe somewhere in between the size of one of those tiny set-top boxes and a full console that I could purchase and put in my son's room, and then he has access to Game Pass through my account.
Yeah.
That was what I was hoping for, and that's something I would have jumped on, especially if it was sub 200. I I don't I don't know where they're going with this.
Yeah, I think 179, 199 would have been the perfect price point for this system.
Right, especially if you launch it and you say, "Hey," because in my opinion, they didn't need to include these games with it. Like, it has a 1 terabyte hard drive in it. If you would have, because alongside the announcement of this all digital, they also announced Game Pass, I think Ultimate, which includes Xbox Live Gold. So,
Yeah.
so for $15 a month, you get Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold, which is essentially what it is right now. If you buy your Xbox Live Gold on an annual basis, you're paying $60 a year, um, so $5 a month. And then Game Pass doesn't offer an annual subscription; you just have to buy it month to month. Um, so you're getting that for $10 a month. So it kind of gives you the option to say, hey, Crackdown 3 just came out. I know my friends are going to play it. Let me jump into Game Pass for 2 months, spend $30, play this game with my friends, and you're getting the benefit of not having to purchase a full year at a time. I think if this system would have launched for $200 with 3 months of that Game Pass Ultimate subscription, you get people in the door with a library of like 140 something games right now on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Plus you get their credit card information for that recurring payment, and you really kind of lock people into it. Because one thing I will say about Game Pass, right now I'm getting it free through the Microsoft Rewards program. Even if they kill the Microsoft Rewards program, if Game Pass stays $10, I'll keep paying it because it's awesome. The games cycle out, and they do a very good job at letting you know, hey, this game is going to leave in 30 or 45 days. So if you want to play it now before it disappears. And I've never felt gypped. Like when something disappears, they bring in 4 or 5 other games that are somewhat close to it, or things that you might be interested in. And they have a lot of the Microsoft Rewards program ties in really well with Game Pass, where you get achievements in these 3 games and you'll get 1,000 Microsoft Reward points. They do like a whole lot of stuff to keep you in this constant loop of being in Xbox and Microsoft, which is cool.
Yeah.
I think if they'd have had the pricing right and looped people in with Game Pass Ultimate, it would have been a home run. I think there may not have been much foresight with this.
Yeah, it does sound like it was a little bit of a missed opportunity from them.
Yeah.
To really get the Xbox into a bunch more houses. But Microsoft wants to go this digital route.
And I'm okay with that. I think, with my Xbox One, I have been all digital with the exception of one game, and that's Lego Dimensions, because even though Lego Dimensions isn't reading anything from the disc other than the fact that I have the disc, which I think is so crazy, I love the fact that my entire library is available to me very quickly on the fly. You were talking about how Nintendo does such a poor job of managing what digital content you have with your account.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 2 terabyte external hard drive plugged up to my Xbox. I have unplugged that hard drive, taken it over to a friend's house, logged in, plugged my hard drive in, and my game works just right there because it's already installed on the hard drive. All it does is it gives me that little dial saying, "Hey, we're getting your game ready." It verifies that I'm logged in on Xbox Live with my account that has that game, and we're all able to play. That's amazing. It should be like that on everything. So if Microsoft stays ahead of the curve with this digital future, I'm kind of okay with it. But I think they had a huge opportunity with this system, and they're not. It's inevitable. This thing is going to be like $150, maybe $200 on Black Friday, which at that point it'll be worth it. But I think if they wanted to sell these things like hotcakes, they should have had a better price point to start with, and maybe some better pack-ins.
And if this thing was the size of an Apple TV or a little bit bigger, that would be incredible. And I think a lot of people would be much happier to have that on their TV shelf than a giant box.
If that were the case, I would buy one and it would go with me the same way my Switch does. Because I mean, I have another Switch dock that I take with me, like when we go on vacations or I go for a business trip or something. It's nice to have it to plug up in the hotel. If I had that available with an Xbox that's all digital and my whole content library sits on a hard drive or in the cloud or something, that'd be pie in the sky.
Well, we'll have to see what Microsoft does with this, if they do lower the price quickly, if they do make modifications to the size and the shape of the system in coming months, because they're not against making revisions to things that have already been out. So
yeah, because I mean the 360, in the final days of the 360, it went from like the 360 S to the S Matte to the E, the 360E or something. Like they did a whole bunch of like physical hardware revisions of the 360 in the final days. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if this goes through something different. But yeah, I'm with you. They need to come up with some better pricing or better pack-ins.
Well, all right. So I think that will be the end of the show for this week. So thank you, Shannon, for being on the show.
Pleasure. Sorry you guys had to listen to my ranting.
Oh, that is quite all right. Quite all right. And Ethan, thank you as well for being on the show this week.
It's weird to think that people who are 5 feet tall are only 5 Subway sandwiches long.
Those Subway sandwiches aren't a full foot.
They're only 11 inches.
So they're not even 5 Subway sandwiches long?
No.
And they're lying about their height.
If you want to reach out to us, we have tons of new ways to do so. You can email us at podcast@procgent.com. That's PROCGENT.com. You can send us a voicemail if you want by clicking on the voicemail link on the right side of the website. You can send us voicemails up to 90 seconds in length, and we'll play those on future episodes of the show and respond to the questions that you have. If you like what we do here, you can now support us on Patreon, patreon.com/pgint. Patreon supporters will get a video version of the podcast a day early. These will normally go out on Tuesdays. Patreon supporters will get them on Monday. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/progenint. Check out our YouTube channel that we've got and see the content we've got going on up there. And then we still do have the Facebook group where you can interact with us on a daily basis as well.